Hello and welcome to this third video on data interpretation. In my previous two videos, I looked at data forms from table and pie charts. In this video, we'll discuss line graph. So we'll discuss how do we read line graphs, what is the information that is presented, and we will do some smart calculation to discuss 5 questions on line graph. So let's get started. So let's look at the graph here. So in this graph, if you see, it represents exports from 3 companies over the years. So there are these 3 companies X, Y and Z. So this blue line represents the data of exports for that company over the years, and similarly Y, the orange one, and the gray one for the third one, company Z. So for example, let's say a data point. So let's say if you discuss 94, if you look at year 1994, can we say that the exports from company Y is less than company X, because company Y, the exports in this year is how much? 40 crores, whereas for company X, the blue line is 60 crores, whereas for company Z, this is 90 crores. So this is something that we should understand the data. So similarly, we can understand the data and we can just solve the questions. So let's look at the first question. First question says, for which of the following pairs of years the total exports from 3 companies together are equal? So for which of the following years, or years you've given options, and which years the together, if you join X, Y, Z, the exports are equal. So let's look at 93. But should we really look at 93? Why would we waste our time looking at 93, 94? Why? Because I always told you, keep an eye always on the option. So it says 95, 96, 98 and 97. That means we don't have to look at 99. We won't waste our time on 93, 94. So let's look at our problem. So 95, let's look at 95. So what do you think is the exports here? This is 40. This is 60. 40, 60, 100. 100 plus 120. So how much is this? This is 220. Similarly, if you look at, let's say 96 or 98. So let's say 96. How much is 96? This is 60 plus this is 70. 60, 70, 130. 130 and 90. 130 and 90 again is 220. So these two already we got it. This is equal 95, 96. Is there an option 95, 96? Oh, there is. So we could have just marked this. Otherwise, we can also calculate for 97 and 98. So for 97, let's look at the data. So this is how much? This is 60 crores plus 80, 140 plus 100, meaning 240. Let's look at 98 also. This is how much? 50 plus 80, 130, 130 plus 100, 230. So as you can see clearly that in which 2 years is it same? So fourth option is our correct option. So all you have to do is just looking at this, just adding and just seeing which is equal. Okay, let's move to the second question. It says average annual exports during the given year for company Y. So the entire annual average exports for given period for company Y is approximately what percentage of the average annual exports for company Z? So we are saying average of all these years Y is what percentage of average of company Z. This is what, so first reading the question, understanding is very important, understanding the question. Once you understand that you can always go to the data and start attempting. So company Y, let's look at company Y. So company Y we know is this, that means this line. So let's look at the average data they have. So let's look at, okay. So this is 80 plus 40, 120 plus 60, 180 plus 60, 240 plus 240 plus 80. This is 320. 320 plus 100, 420. 420 plus 140. That means 560. 560, and of course, upon how many years is this? This is upon 7. But just a second. Let's look at company Z. How much is company Z? Company Z is gray. 60 plus 90, 150 plus 120, 270. 270 plus 90, 360 360 plus how much is this? 360 plus 60, 420. 420 plus 80, 500. And this is how much? 500 and 100, 600. So 600 upon 7 years, because there are 7 years. So the question is, this is what percentage of this? So now there are two things. One, you can always calculate the average and calculate this and then calculate this, and then you can see, okay, what is this percentage of this other number? And because he's asking that this is what percentage of the other numbers, I hope you understand that much ratio and percentage that we need not even do this calculation. That means all we can do is we can just check 56 or 560 is what percentage of 600, because ultimately by 7 there is division both sides. So ultimately that ratio you can compare. So if I say what is 2 as a percentage of 3, or if I say what is 2 lakh as a percentage of 3 lakh, ultimately it's going to be the same thing. So all you have to do is you have to check 56 is what percentage of 60. So now, is it simple or difficult? Very simple. 60 is 100% and this is 56, so 4 less. So first look at this data. If you have any data, 10% of this number is 6. So what is 5% of 60? 5% is 3. So that means if the number was 57, it would have been how much? It would have been 95%, but this is less than that. How less? 1 less, right, than this. So what is 1 of 60? That means, see, what is 10 of 60 is 16.66. That means 1 by 6, 16. So this is 1.66. So 1 is how much? So 1.66 percentage is 1. And this is 3 plus 1, 4 less. That means you have to reduce this percentage than this. So that means it is not 95. 95 minus 1.66. That means 93.33. So that's your answer. So very simple. All you had to do it, you had to add up these numbers. But I would say, instead of doing this unnecessary, so for example, this goes directly 7 into 8, 56, but here it's not easily, it's getting cut. So instead of doing this, you could look at 56 by 60. But even if you do the standard basing, 560 upon 7, this is 80, and 7 into 7, 7, 8, 56, and then you have 40 and 7, 5, so 85 point something, and then also you can look at 80 is what percentage of 85, you'll get the same answer. But instead we looked at 56 is what percentage of 60. Okay, let's move to the next question. So this question says, in which year was the difference between exports from company X and Y the minimum? Okay, so which is X, the blue one, and which is Y, this orange one. So he says, in which year is it minimum? So can we look at 93? No. Why should we look at 93? Always keep an eye out on options. 94, 95, 96, 97. That means that is in scope. So we will only look at these 4 years, right? No other year. So now let's look at 94. Now again, difference C. So this one difference is how much? This is 10 crores. So that means this is how much? This is 20 crores. This is also 20 crores. 94, 95, same. 96, how much is this? This is close. So that means this is only 10 crores. And this is again 20 crores. So obviously this is very obvious. And this is a 5-second question. All you have to do is read the question, just look at the data point and just mark your answer. So let's move to the next question. Next question says, what is the difference between the average exports of 3 companies in 1993 and the average exports in 1998? Difference between the average exports. Okay. So we have to calculate difference, average export. So average of 1993 minus average of 1998. This is what you have to do. Correct? This is what it will be. So let's look at average of 1993. Okay. So how much is this? 30 plus 60, 90. 90 plus 80. That means 170 upon 3, because that's the average. So let's look at again. 30 plus 60, 90, 90 plus 80. This is 170 by 3. So this is one data, 1993. And let's look at the other data. Other data, 1998 is how much? Again, this is 50 and this is 80, 50 plus 80, 130. 130 plus how much is this? 130 plus 100. That means this is 230. So that means 230 by 3. See, there's a reason why I did not actually multiply this? I mean, why did I not divide it and calculate the actual answer? Because by 3 would be common in both the places. So I don't want to do any unnecessary step, any redundant step I should avoid. So instead of getting into these numbers and getting into points, I want to make it my life easy. So what is the difference actually? 1 by 3 is common. 230 minus 170, this is 60. That means what is the difference? This is 20 crores. So what is the difference in average exports? This is of course simple, C option, 20 crores. So let's move to the final question on the data. So it says is in how many of the given years were the exports from company Z more than the average annual exports over the given years? Okay, so let's look at company Z. Company Z is the gray one. Okay, company Z. Okay, so how much is the total, and let's calculate the average over 7 years. So 60 plus 90, 150, 150 plus 120, 270, 270 plus 90, 360, 360 plus 60, 420, 420 plus 80, 500, 500 plus 100, this is 600. That means 600 upon 7, correct? This is the average. So they're saying in how many of the given years were the exports from company Z more than the average annual exports over the given year? So average annual exports is how much for company Z? 7 into 8, 56. Again 56, so 4 carry 40, 7, 5, 35, correct? 50, and 7 into 7, so close to this. 85.7 is the average. In how many years is it more than this average, right? That's what it's asking. More than the average annual export. So let's look at company Z here. Is 60 more than 85? No. Is 90 more than 85? Yes. Is this more than 85? Yes. What is this number? 90. Is 90 more than this thing? Yes. Is this more than 85? No. This is somewhere 60. How much is this? This is 80. Is it correct? No. Correct? This is smaller, right? So obviously not this. And is this more than 85? How much is this? 100. Yes. So how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is the answer? C. So what did we learn in this video? We learned a couple of things. One, how to understand the information that's presented in line graphs. Secondly, we should not jump to calculation. That means any step that we are doing, whether it's multiplication, whether it's addition, whether it's average, we should always look at a smarter way to do it. Secondly, we should pause and if not calculate unless it's required. Right? So we looked at understanding the data, we looked at some smart calculation, and that's about the line graph, these 5 questions. So thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.